So yeah, you and I last year did a bit of a shark week or month or kind of a while.
A shark rabbit hole.
Yeah, so we watched all of the Jaws movies.
No, we skipped one.
We left one till last. So we started. Did we start at 4?
No, we went to 2.
Yeah.
Because we've watched Jaws 1 so many times.
Yeah.
Like, I've got it memorized so much. And I was like, you know what? I've never properly watched Jaws 2 in my adult life.
That's right.
I don't remember if it's that good or not.
That's right.
But it's made directly after the first one, so it's got to still have a bit of that cosmetic Jaws style to it.
And it does, but it's boring.
You know what Jaws 2 is? Jaws 2 feels like the Chief Brody prequel movie that establishes a cop show.
Yeah.
It's like the first Jaws is like he's one of the characters dealing with a big shark, and then they make Jaws 2 to be like, oh, well, we better have a shark come back, and when he kills that shark, then the show's going to start.
The legend continues.
Chief Brody, can we go, please?
Think we may have another Sean Jones. Are you serious? Roy Scheider. Look, Brody, you started a panic on a public beach. Now, what if somebody decides to sue us? And it's a shark. Did you ever stop to think about that?
And then he just deals with like maybe a crocodile in the second episode, and then a piranha and snake, and or stupid crimes in Amity Island. Jaws 2 very much feels like a very boring TV show version of Jaws, where there's no ad-libbing, there's no 20-year-old immature Steven Spielberg cocaine ideas. It's just very by the books of what a Jaws template already is.
Yeah.
And watching it's like, all right, Brody not having either Quint or Hooper around, you know something's missing.
It doesn't have. There's so much lost. Like it's just because he doesn't have those other two to bounce off. Like
It's just like Homer Simpson the movie. No one wants to see that because Homer works when he bounces off everyone else.
Yeah.
With his little solo moments in between, where Jaws 2 was like, at least bring Hooper back. At least so there's more familiarity, than they can both grow and have a point to a sequel. But this one's like, no, he says, now the shark's back, and no one believes Brody again. They don't believe him again. And then,
Jaws 3D. The third dimension is terror.
Jaws 3 sucks.
Yep.
Jaws 3 has a great concept executed in the most pathetic, nothing way. That I don't really want to talk about Jaws 3.
No, let's just skip Jaws 3.
Because there's nothing in it. There's not even a moment of like, haha, even that's bad. It's like, no.
Jaws, the revenge.
Jaws 4, I love. Because it's the dumbest movie. But it's like RoboCop 3, where it really tries to go back to the first one and be like, all right, let's remind you of the first one again. So at least it does a bit of that. Unfortunately, it has this dumb psychological telekinesis plot with a shark.
This time, it's personal.
And a shark that can swim from New York to the Bahamas faster than a Michael Caine in a plane. And then, rather than going straight back to the first one...
Yeah, we watched something that we hadn't watched before, but we'd always been interested in watching.
Well, this is something that's always been on my radar because I've always wanted to own it on Blu-ray, but a specific version of what it's called. There is a movie called Cruel Jaws. However, it's also been renamed to Jaws 5 in different regions or something, so you can get Blu-rays at...
Germany, I think?
Maybe. Whereas literally just called Jaws 5, even though it's nothing to do with the whole Jaws franchise. But this turns out was more fun to watch
than Jaws 2 and 3.
And 4.
And 4.
And it's the biggest scam of a film I've ever seen. I don't understand how they've done it.
Yeah, so they've shot a film, but all of the shark stuff was footage taken from other films, other shark movies.
Other shark movies.
So there's footage from... Is there footage from Jaws or Jaws 2 or something?
I'm pretty sure there's footage from all of the Jaws movies in it.
And then there's footage from these other shark movies, these other international shark movies.
Yeah, like Italian shark.
Yeah.
Where every shark looks so different per film in a different fake way. But this movie somehow got the rights to all of these things. I don't know how they got the rights to Jaws, because the way it's shown in the film is so grainy and strange that it might be bootlegged of a bootleg.
Yeah.
But that might count enough of the amount that they've used.
But the one thing we did notice is that they've done a very good job of blending the underwater shit that they shot with some of the footage.
Yeah.
And it's like, and some of the footage they've shot, they've managed to like match the lighting better than it deserved. Like,
because it came out in the 90s, I want to say.
Yeah, but it feels like a 70s movie.
Yeah,
Like,
somehow the footage they filmed for this quote-unquote new plot looks like it's lost footage from the 70s itself.
yeah.
But it's definitely the reshot new footage to blend the Frankenstein, all this copywritten material together with.
Yeah.
But it itself looks old.
Yeah.
Older than it is.
And that's why I was impressed with that. And I'm like...
But you know it's not footage that's still taken from an old film, because they're ripping off the framing and scenarios from Jaws. They even have that moment where they go on the jetty. They go on that the barge.
Yeah, but it's the most boring and like...
It's like, there's nothing to this plot. Why? I don't care. Cut back to the footage you don't own. But it turns out that was so much more fun just watching this nonsense lasagna of a legal nightmare.
And we also mentioned like the Star Wars theme.
Oh my god, they play the first five seconds of the Star Wars theme and immediately fade it into something else that sounds like John Williams music. And then just immediately fades into something else, and it's like, wait a minute.
We had to pause it and rewind it and then go back and rewatch it. Because you pointed it out, and then I looked it up. Apparently, in the German version, they had unlicensed music. And that was one of it.
Did it slip through the cracks?
Yeah, so I don't know. And that was kind of the reason, that was almost the reason we started watching these movies, because you mentioned, hey, we should watch this Cruel Jaws movie, and I'm like, oh, let's watch 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, just getting to the point of I'm sick of rewatching the classics and or the mains like Jaws 2, 3, 4. Let's venture out.
And so, yeah, so after Cruel Jaws, we then went back and rewatched Jaws 1.
Yeah, because we needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah, and we had as much fun as we did the very first time either of us would have seen it.
Yeah.
It made us feel happy.
We needed a detox from trash.
Yeah. And then straight after that, we decided to kind of like start watching other... So I think, did we do...
We immediately watched The Shallows.
We did, that's right.
I don't know if I hadn't seen it.
I had seen it.
But I'd heard good things.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, let's start watching what other attempts at a shark film was in this modern era. So then we watched The Shallows, and like, just like Immaculate, my exact same takeaway was like, it's just too style over substance. Like, yes, she's trapped on a rock for the whole thing, and that's a great like set piece, like Blair Witch or something, but it has too many montages in it and manipulative music that you don't quite give a You don't ever believe, like, you know she's gonna make it because it's so schmaltzy and Hollywoody. It was like The Shark was fine, but aside from that, it's just not that memorable of a film.
Yeah.
And then we're like, there's those, what are those other ones? The 57 meter whatever.
47 meters down.
And I'm like, do you want to watch one of those? And it's like, yeah. And my God, those movies are so fun and tense.
And both of us, I think the first thing we noticed was like, there's 10 or 15 minutes where they're on land, which sets up the story.
Which is always the worst part of both of the movies.
Correct, yeah.
When it's the human stupid plot on land,
yeah,
it's like, all right, get past this.
But then once you're in the water, they commit to filming the rest of the goddamn film underwater.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like more claustrophobic than Alien.
It's so well done.
They just have to be in this dumbass cage.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm genuinely impressed. Like, the commitment to the bit. Like, yep, no, we're gonna put these people in dive suits. We're gonna drop them in the freezing water, and this is where the film is.
Which is great because then it forces them to have to write excuses to keep the plot going.
Yeah,
so it's like at some point,
and every little idea they come up with is clever and smart and
yeah, it's like
believable.
All right, it's like, all right, smarty pants, the oxygen tank's about to run out. How are they gonna get past that? Huh? It's like, oh well, then the boat finds out where they are. but they can't go rescue them yet because it's shark-infested water of all these great whites. So they lower reserve air tanks to them. All right, so that keeps the plot going, but then there's still like, how the do we get out of this cage? And I think one of them's injured by that point, so they're like bleeding. So it's like, it keeps going. And then I even love when a movie like this does that thing where one of them gets out of the cage and swims away for a bit and has their own thing, but then they need to go back and get their friend. Like, it does that. Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to spoil the sequence that follows, but like, my God, just the whole commitment of you stay underwater once the plot gets going. It's such a fun movie, just like Sting.
And then that immediately pushed us to watch the second one, because we thought, oh, we'll watch the first one. If we don't like it, then we don't commit. Yeah. And then immediately we're like,
47 meters down, uncaged.
Yeah. And
which has such a ludicrous plot.
It's so
my God,
dumb, but I don't care.
It still works. I don't know how they did it, but they somehow ripped off verbatim the formula to a Friday the 13th movie with two blind demon sharks in an underwater temple.
Yeah.
And they're basically daredevil sharks that need sound.
Yeah.
Because they've been living in darkness, so they're blind. It's so dumb, but it's such a good movie that I was like, I need to buy these on Blu-ray immediately. I will watch these again and I will show these to people. It's just like, I know that's what I love. Even when they can get as dumb as a plot that is, they still commit to that same filmmaking, that same tension. We're not getting out of the water until the end, and you just have to deal with these characters being this trapped for this long. It still pulls that off, and now they've got a third one on the way, which I'm
keen to see.
I'm gonna see that in the cinema.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna feel like I'm drowning in a big room with people.
And so we'd watch those, and then I remember it was not long after that I heard somewhere mention this Under Paris.
Yeah,
which is a shark movie.
There's French shark movies on the way. You're like, under Paris? Sharks invading Paris? What?
And so we watched it, and we were both pleasantly surprised. Like, it was...
Yeah, I'm more than happy to say that Under Paris has completely dethroned Deep Blue Sea at being the greatest shark film of all time.
It's heaps of fun. It also commits to the bit.
But Under Paris has this insane apocalyptic sci-fi plot. Yeah. To explain it as brief as possible will make it sound dumb, like a Deep Blue Sea, but like it is smarter than Deep Blue Sea. And I love Deep Blue Sea because it's just ripping off Jurassic Park with sharks.
Yeah.
Where Under Paris, it incorporates this whole like evolutionary eco thing where sharks have been they're the apex predator of the ocean. We need them for the ecosystem. That's the role they play, and thanks to like human intervention, it's going extinct in the ocean, left, right, and center. So sharks are biologically evolving to be like, they can grow at an alarming rate. The second they're born, they become full size like immediately. Or they can regenerate or something.
Well, yeah, it's a specific shark.
Yeah, it was like a mako shark that's evolved.
Yeah, but then it also evolves to be able to survive in fresh water.
Yes.
And so that's the main one. It's like it travels up the Seine?
Yes.
In Paris, and then basically takes up residence in a flooded catacombs that are like beneath under Paris. That's the whole point of the film. And then so you got scientist people trying to say, no, we gotta stop this thing, we gotta catch it and get rid of it. But then you've also got all these environmental people saying, oh, let the shark, it's good, it's not hurting anyone and everything else. And that triggers one of the greatest fucking scenes in cinema history, where basically an entire group of
like Greenpeace
hippies just get slaughtered en masse by like just dozens of these sharks.
Une immense fête!
And it is fantastic.
Yeah, and also the CGI and all the effects are also top notch. It was a straight to Netflix movie. Like, it's completely lost now in culture. Where unfortunately people have completely slept on it. Yeah, dude, the movie was f***ing insane.
It was fun. It is kind of a bit of an environmental, and the stakes are like high because it's just like, well,
because it's like a Godzilla level event as well. Like, all the government's getting involved and all the scientists are trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, and they're like, if we lose, the sharks win, and these things will just keep multiplying en masse, and then they'll basically become the the
Yeah.
dominant species on this planet.
It's not even like a fun little movie. Like, if there could ever be a contemporary modern day version of Jaws, it would be Under Paris.
Yeah.
Without having to be Jaws. Like it has a community involvement with the town of Paris as well. It has this big lingering plot of trying to figure out how to kill the fucking thing.
Also, you're not
which turns into things.
Also, you're not bored by all the human
No.
stuff in it. Like all the human stuff is.
The whole thing just keeps its focus on the threat, which is, yeah, nature biting back.
Now, Under Paris, definitely recommend. It was a highlight of last year, that's for sure. Why it's on the list.
I think that ended our shark train anyway.
It did, yeah. That was pretty much the end of.
Then we switched to crocodile movies.
We did. We did.